May 17th, 2025, a California couple was making their way to a concert at a Santa Cruz venue called the Blue Lagoon. They'd headed out late in the evening to catch their favorite band play live. By all accounts, it was a wild and memorable night, according to SebiCat, who snapped a photo and shared it on her Instagram. But just 3 days after posting it, Stabby revealed that the concert wasn't the only thing worth talking about from that evening. She explained that something deeply unsettling had taken place on the drive home, all of it captured by her dash cam. Sammy writes, "My boyfriend and I were on our way back from a concert in Santa Cruz, navigating a pitch-black, winding road that drops steeply downhill. The stretch she's describing is none other than Highway 17, a route so notorious it's earned the nickname Killer 17. It's a road in California with a long and grim history of crashes, yet what happened to this couple had nothing to do with an accident. It was something else entirely. Here's the footage they recorded." Savvy and her boyfriend were completely thrown off by the sudden appearance of a figure in the road. Even as they approached, nothing was distinguishable in the distance, yet out of nowhere, something materialized just inches from the passenger side of the car. Given how close the encounter was, you'd expect whatever or whoever it was to still be standing there, alive and unharmed. But when the rear dashcam footage is reviewed, that assumption falls apart entirely. There's simply nothing there. Stabby and her boyfriend fully expected to see the figure still standing on the road, so it came as a shock when the rear camera revealed absolutely no one. The front dash cam had clearly picked up a silhouette in the roadway, yet the rear footage showed no trace of it whatsoever. It's worth mentioning that the couple did believe they had seen a person standing in the road, but after reviewing the recordings, they're no longer confident in that conclusion. Others who have traveled this same highway have reportedly had eerily similar encounters, and Rogue Savvy has begun to wonder whether what they captured was actually a ghost. Given the number of fatal accidents this road has seen over the years, many believe that shadowy figure could be one of the many souls who lost their lives on this highway. And perhaps even more chilling is the realization that another tragedy could easily have unfolded that night, had Savvy swerved in panic and lost control of the vehicle.
You're okay, breathe.
The incident continues to leave Savvy and her boyfriend without answers. Even now, no one has been able to explain what their dashcam recorded that night. A man named Kevin deals with a serious sleepwalking condition that frequently leaves him waking up outdoors in his backyard. But lately, the things happening to him have taken a far stranger turn. He decided to install night vision cameras throughout his home. Most people are familiar with sleepwalking and the kinds of behaviors that come with it. But would you believe someone could climb out of bed in the dead of night and remain completely frozen for more than an hour, doing nothing but staring at a bare wall? Kevin was horrified when he reviewed the footage the next morning. He had absolutely no memory of standing there, motionless, eyes fixed on that wall for a full 60 minutes. And that wasn't the only thing his cameras picked up. Whether it's connected to Kevin's behavior or not remains unclear, but around that very same time, something else was going on. Furniture and objects in his living room appeared to shift on their own, with no one anywhere near them. A woman is at home alone with her infant when her security camera picks up something that doesn't sit right. She initially dismisses it as her mind playing tricks, until the motion sensor on her back door suddenly triggers. With only her and her baby living there, whatever showed up on that footage had no business being in that house. Out of nowhere, the sound of a child laughing rings out through the home. What makes it even more chilling is that her baby has already turned to face the exact direction the sound came from. She tries to look away and shake it off, but then the distinct sound of small feet running is heard. The motion detector fires again, prompting her to leave the room, and she goes on to sweep through every corner of the house, convinced some child may have somehow gotten inside. She comes up empty. Whether something supernatural was at play or there's a rational explanation, nobody can say for certain. The real question is this: what exactly was in that house with them? Our next clip takes us all the way out to Oregon. Picture this: you're deep in the wilderness, camping alone in your vehicle, and suddenly you start hearing knocks and thuds against the outside. What would you do? Stop picturing it, because here's exactly that scenario playing out in real life.
I'd be in the back of my truck right now. I don't even know what time it is, and there's someone walking around my truck right now. If you can hear that, it's pretty loud. I don't really know what to do. I'm a little freaked out right now, and it's like pitch black outside, probably like 2 in the morning, and he just keeps...
This is Noah, the man you're seeing in the footage. He's out there spending the night solo in his truck, parked deep in a remote stretch of Oregon forest. He figured he'd have a quiet, uneventful evening until something started banging on his truck at around 2 in the morning.
How am I supposed to get him away? He's literally knocking. He's literally knocking on my truck. I don't think he knows that there's anyone in here. He keeps walking around. I don't get it. Let's see if he goes away eventually.
The knocking grows more aggressive, like whoever's out there is desperately trying to force their way inside. Noah's breathing gets shallow, panic written all over his face. He checks his phone, 2:30 a.m. In a split-second decision, he switches on his flashlight, hoping the light alone will drive off whoever is out there. And just like that, the banging stops. When daylight finally arrives, he wastes no time getting back to civilization. It's only once he's out of the woods that he spots unusual marks on his vehicle. Marks he's certain weren't there when he arrived. His best guess is that some random person tried to break in. But here's the thing, he was in the absolute middle of nowhere. Could it have been a Bigfoot encounter, or maybe another camper who panicked? And if it was just another person, why did they bolt the moment that flashlight came on? Something about this story just doesn't add up. Is it possible Noah staged the whole thing for a shot at internet fame? Honestly, we may never know the full truth, but here's the takeaway. Don't go camping by yourself. Noah walked away fine, but your experience could turn out very differently. What's your take on what really happened out there? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Paranormal investigator Ryan has built a reputation for documenting some of the most chilling encounters out there. This particular case brought him to a residence where the people living there were absolutely certain a young girl's spirit was making itself known. They hired Ryan and paid him well to look into it and hopefully bring the terrifying ordeal to an end. Here's what his camera picked up.
What do you want? What do you want? What do you want with me? Come on, answer! What do you want with me? Not gonna answer me. What do you want? So, as you can see here, is pretty much up against the wall. Nothing can really fit behind there. Windows are screened. There's no holes in the wall or anything like that. These are just standard stuffed animals. There's no puppets or anything like that. Just standard stuffed animals. And you can see there's no electronic interference, noise, or anything like that, because the poltergeist entity, whatever you want to call it, is not here at the moment in this room that I'm aware of.
Oddly, 2 stuffed animals sitting in the room began moving on their own, as if an invisible presence was manipulating them. Yet the footage clearly shows the space was entirely vacant except for Ryan himself. He inspected both toys carefully, looking for concealed wires, any kind of remote mechanism, or hidden triggers, and came up empty every time. There was simply no rational explanation, and this unsettling moment occurred within the first 5 minutes of Ryan setting foot inside the home. It was only a preview of the deeply strange events that were about to follow. This is the cupboard that was opening before. Much better look. You can see there's no room for anyone to be hiding or anything in here. There's no holes in any walls. One of the questions I get asked a lot about is why you don't see my family in any of the videos. And that's simply because I value my privacy. And I share what I want to share. I don't need to share footage of my family. So let's just again another look at the cabinet. There's no activity on it at the moment. There's nothing. Later that same night, Ryan ventured into the kitchen. The moment he got close to the pantry door, everything escalated fast. The door started rattling with force, while a sharp, piercing shriek rang out through the room. Determined to get to the bottom of it, Ryan pulled the door open. Just as before, there was absolutely nothing there. No person concealed inside, nothing disturbed, no identifiable source for the violent shaking. There was no denying it anymore. Whatever was in this house, it wasn't going away on its own. Not long after settling into their new home, a couple starts noticing something is seriously off. At some point, they stumble upon a concealed room up in the attic, packed with strange stick-like objects that look like they belong to some kind of voodoo ritual. Then, one evening, while her boyfriend is out and she's alone in the house, she hears sounds coming from the floor above her. Unsettled, she pulls out her phone and begins recording as she heads up to check it out. And what she captures will make you look twice.
Hallo? Hallo, Kias?
A hand is clearly visible hitting the glass panel on the door, yet when she steps inside, the room is completely empty. Shaken, she decides she's not staying and waits outside until her boyfriend returns. Ever since that hidden room came to light, the activity around the house has only gotten worse, growing more frequent with each passing day. As of now, no explanation has been found, but one thing is hard to deny. Whatever is going on in that house, it doesn't seem to want to stay hidden. Forklift operator was pulling a night shift at a warehouse, going about his usual routine, when something started to feel wrong. Shadows were drifting through the aisles, shadows that had no business being there. He pulled out his camera, equal parts curious and uneasy, and that's the moment it hit him. Projected onto a stack of cardboard boxes was a sharp, unmistakable silhouette of a human figure, perfectly outlined, almost like some kind of reflection, except cardboard doesn't reflect anything. He scanned the area around him, and the warehouse was dead silent and completely deserted. He tried to brush it off and climbed back onto his forklift. Then the mirrors told a different story.
Y desde hace rato siento como que algo se asoma de ahí atrás. A ver si lo alcanzo a grabar. Mira, mira, mira, mira. ¡Ah, la verga! Mira. ¡Ah!
Staring back at him was a dark, humanoid shape, peering out from behind the boxes. He moved toward it and found absolutely nothing. No sign anyone had been there. Whatever it was had been lurking in the darkness, watching his every move, vanishing the instant he got close. A presence that had no right to exist, yet somehow left its mark. This next clip was captured by a security guard working alone inside a closed movie theater complex. While making his rounds, he reported picking up the sound of a child crying somewhere in the building. No screenings were scheduled, and the entire facility had been shut to the public at that point. In the recording, a young child can be seen near the ticket counter, visibly distressed. Under different circumstances, you might assume the child had simply wandered away from their parents, but the guard insisted the building had been vacant since early that morning, which is exactly why he held back and filmed from a distance rather than walking straight over. And then things got even stranger. As the child drifted toward the far end of the complex, the crying cut out completely. No footsteps, no voices, not a single sound. The guard later told investigators that he swept the entire building afterward, checking every hallway and restricted area he had access to. He found nothing, no child, and no indication of how someone that young could have gotten in or out. There were no missing child reports filed that evening, no parents ever came forward, and no definitive answer was ever reached. Whether it was a simple misunderstanding, some kind of scare, or something that defies easy explanation is entirely up to you. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. A woman named Caroline had recently moved into a new place on her own, and things seemed perfectly normal at first. That is, until the unsettling experiences began. Caroline started being plagued by vivid, disturbing nightmares. She also began hearing unidentified voices echoing through different parts of the house, and would witness objects shifting on their own with no explanation. To make matters worse, she has no family she can reach out to for support, and moving out simply isn't an option for her right now. Left with no other course of action, she decided to document these eerie occurrences, hoping that putting them out there might somehow bring her some answers. Here's what her camera picked up. Every time she paid close attention and hit record, the activity appeared to escalate further, growing more and more disturbing. Until one particular evening, while she was sitting in front of the TV, she heard something that made her jump to her feet. What her camera caught in that moment was genuinely terrifying. Caroline mentioned that she did her best to simply coexist with whatever was happening and push through the fear, but conditions in the house continued to deteriorate on a daily basis. Eventually, she became so frightened that she couldn't bring herself to switch the lights off at night, and not long after that, her upload stopped entirely, leaving everyone wondering what became of her. Like so many of these cases, this one has never been explained. This next clip was sent in by one of our viewers over in the Philippines. It was April 3rd, 2025, and she happened to be home by herself. Her husband was abroad, leaving her alone in the house with only her dogs for company. Deep in the night, she was suddenly snapped out of her sleep by the sound of someone pounding on her front door. Shaken and unsure what to make of it, she reached for her phone and hit record. Here's the footage she managed to capture. All throughout the recording, you can make out heavy knocking and banging that seems to reverberate through the entire house. At one point, she moves toward the window, trying to get a look at whoever, or whatever, might be lurking outside. But when she checks, there's nobody there. We're not sure what unfolded after this, or whether she's dealt with anything like it in the past. So what's your take? Could this be something from the paranormal, or is it possible a stalker had clocked that she was on her own? Either way, being jolted awake in the dead of night by sounds like that, knowing full well you're the only person in the house, that's the kind of thing that stays with you. Father was keeping an eye on his son as he sketched when he noticed something odd. The boy glanced up and fixed his gaze on what appeared to be a presence hovering in the empty air before him. Curious and unsettled, the dad pulled out his phone and started filming. The child seemed completely absorbed, utterly certain that someone else was sharing the room with them. See for yourself what unfolded.
Oh, why have you drawn that? Oh, really?
Yeah.
What does he do?
Right?
Why?
Because he took this.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But I'm not allowed.
When the father asked his son what he was drawing, the boy replied that he was sketching a figure suspended somewhere in the room. The dad looked over again. Nothing was there. He pressed further, asking what this figure actually did, and the boy's answer stopped him cold. The entity bothers him at night, and he's been told he isn't supposed to tell anyone about it. Kids are often said to perceive things that adults simply can't, but this felt like something far more specific and far more chilling than your average childhood tale. So just what exactly was this little boy describing? Subreddit, where users prefer to stay anonymous, became the home for this particular post, along with the responses it drew in. Late one night, somewhere around 2 in the morning, you head outside to take out some trash, making your way over to a nearby dumpster. On your walk back toward the building, something stops you cold. A dark figure, just standing there in the distance. It held its position long enough to get under your skin. Needless to say, you weren't about to just brush it off, so you pulled up the security footage to see what had actually been recorded, and what you found wasn't exactly reassuring. In the upper left corner of the frame, out of what had been pure darkness, a shape suddenly comes into existence. Right as a car swings around the corner, its headlights sweeping across the area, this figure seems to materialize from thin air. It stands completely still before eventually moving off to the right, and that leaves us with the question nobody can quite answer. What were we actually looking at? A spirit? A technical artifact from the camera itself? Or maybe something we haven't even considered yet? A woman who goes by Cello purchased a collectible necklace at an estate sale back in 2012, one that had allegedly belonged to Aleister Crowley. From that moment on, she says her life has been plagued by strange, inexplicable occurrences, and things have only escalated since June 5th, 2025. On one particular occasion, she's standing at the sink doing the dishes when she starts hearing unusual sounds coming from the hallway. She pulls out her phone and hits record.
Okay, I'm so crazy, right? Here you go. Baby's terrified. Hold on. I know. You're okay. You're okay. I know.
First comes a knocking sound on one of the doors, and then the door at the far end of the hallway begins opening and closing on its own, again and again. Then, without warning, her dog panics and bolts from the room, whimpering as it goes. Cello is deeply unsettled by this because her dog always reacts with intense fear and distress whenever these incidents occur. Her belief is that something has latched onto her, something that moves with her wherever she goes. Could this all trace back to a cursed artifact? Or is there something far more sinister at work, something that has no intention of releasing its grip on her? Whatever the answer, it's clear that her ordeal is far from over.
This is Christina's birthday party, and everyone at it, there's Brianna, her little cousin, there's Haley, her other cousin, and there's her daddy Tommy.
Hello.
And here's her Aunt Misty, and here's her Uncle Joey.
What up with it?
What up with it? Alrighty, let's go with this. Daddy lighting the candles.
So we can get you that cake on camera, so we can remember your party, and we'll get the happy birthday.
A family had gathered at home to celebrate their daughter's birthday, and everything seemed perfectly normal, until it wasn't. See for yourself what unfolded next.
Birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Chrissy. Happy birthday to you.
Yay!
Yay.
Good job, girl.
You gonna blow it out? Yeah.
You gonna cut the cake that long or you want me to?
Go ahead, I'm running the camera.
Alrighty.
Daddy's cutting the cake.
Did you like the bicycle stuff you got for your birthday?
Oh, God, Tommy, it's gonna start again. Oh, God, dang, no.
It ain't gonna mess everything up.
He's gonna mess this up for everybody now.
Come on, sissy. Come on, baby, come on. I don't know what's gonna happen. Come on. It's ridiculous. I'm sorry, baby. Seems like it's messing everything in 4 seconds. It's okay, it'll be alright.
God, okay, I wish you had.
The moment they finish cutting the cake, the faucet on the right side of the sink suddenly turns on without anyone touching it. Nobody is anywhere near it, yet the water begins running on its own. The abrupt occurrence startles the entire room, and the 2 kids standing closest to the sink are visibly terrified. But what comes next is somehow even more disturbing.
This stuff is starting again.
I'm sorry, sweetie.
You okay?
I'm so sorry.
God damn! Oh, God!
What the hell is going on? Go to the front room. Go to the front room. Let's go.
Oh, God! Oh, my God!
Out of nowhere, items stored inside the cabinet beneath the sink come flying out on their own, as though an unseen presence flung the doors open and hurled everything out. That was enough for the whole family. They bolted straight out of the house. If something like that went down in your home, what would you actually do in that moment? Next up, we head back to Saudi Arabia to check in with paranormal investigator Shasim. This entire session was streamed live on Instagram, which means 0 cuts, 0 editing, and absolutely no opportunity to rig anything in advance. Jassim is walking through an abandoned hotel that was shut down after a devastating fire in 2003 took the lives of a couple who were staying in one of the rooms. The moment he sets foot in the corridor, the building wastes no time letting him know he doesn't belong there.
Bismillah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. La ilaha illallah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. La ilaha illallah. ما شاء وسع كرسيه السماوات والأرض ولا يؤد حفظهما وهو العلي العظيم حصنت نفسي لا إله إلا الله.
That chair didn't simply fall over. It was hauled across the floor with real force and speed. Because this was a live stream, Jassim sprints over to examine it on the spot, demonstrating that no wires or strings were involved. But things escalate sharply once he makes his way into the old kitchen.
بسم الله بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق حصنت نفسي بلا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله لا لا لا لا لا لا لا لا لا بسم الله أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم بسم الله.
First, a drawer is violently wrenched out of its cabinet, a motion that demands considerable physical force. He picks it up, turns it over, inspects every side, and finds absolutely nothing attached to it. No rigging, no trickery. But pay close attention to what unfolds while his focus is on that drawer. Something comes flying out of the darkness behind him and connects directly with his leg. This has gone beyond eerie. This is a full-on physical assault. Even so, Jassim presses on toward the specific room where the fatal fire allegedly broke out, and that's where things nearly turn deadly.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق بسم الله الذي لا يضر مع اسمه شيء في الأرض.
That is not a lightweight piece of furniture. It doesn't gently slide. It crashes down with what feels like deliberate intention. Had he been standing just a couple of inches to his left, that cabinet would have landed right on top of him. Recognizing just how dangerous the situation had become, Jassim shut the investigation down on the spot. Given that thousands of people witnessed this unfold in real time, it's pretty difficult to write this off as CGI. So, was this an elaborate stunt that spiraled out of control? Or were the spirits of those fire victims trying to make sure he never left that room? On July 6, 2009, footage appeared on a Brazilian police officer's Twitter account that left everyone completely stumped. What began as a standard sweep through a derelict hospital quickly became the kind of thing that stops armed professionals dead in their tracks.
Caralho, bicho, que é isso, mano? Cuidado, Judá. Cuidado, mano, que é isso, mano? Mano, não tem nada. Caralho, mano, que é isso, bicho? Caralho, mano. Mano, que é isso, bicho? Caralho, mano, bora, mano. Deus me livre, mano. Vai, mano, vai, mano. Vai, mano, vai, mano. Vai, mano. Corre.
Even now, nobody has a solid answer for what was on the other side of that door. Whether it was a draft, some quirk of the structure, or something that never quite departed those corridors, still furious, still confined, still clawing for a way out. These officers witnessed something that defied all logic, and not a single one of them took another step forward. On March 26, 2025, a woman named Diana is jolted awake in the dead of night by flashing lights strobing through her window. Bleary-eyed, she peers outside and spots a cluster of police cruisers parked in front of an old trailer her father had been renting to a tenant named Tom. It quickly becomes clear the officers are conducting a search of the property. Unsure what to make of it all, she pulls out her phone and starts filming. And when she uploads the footage to her Instagram the following morning, her followers notice something that simply doesn't add up.
Wait, they're going up to Tom's place. So wait, you said the light wasn't off?
Yeah, exactly. And I knew that something was going on. That's a lot of cops.
Holy shit, what the hell?
Why are they looking at the window?
Oh my god, they're calling.
They're coming out.
Are they calling something in?
Yeah.
Going back over. What was Tom doing?
Is there like an app you can check or something to figure out?
As Diana watches the police move around outside, a dark shape appears to flicker in and out of view. Diana herself hadn't spotted it at all. It was her sharp-eyed followers who flagged it, and given how small it appears, many of them have drawn the same unsettling conclusion, that it could be the spirit of a child. But that's far from the only disturbing thing Diana captured. According to her, officers discovered Tom's body inside the trailer during that search, and within a few days, she and her father had to go in themselves to start clearing the place out. What they encountered in there, nobody saw coming.
Okay. Oh my goodness. Oh, great. Oh my god.
Hanging from the ceiling, later identified as a dead crow, was the first grim discovery, but if that wasn't enough to make your skin crawl, Diana then stumbles upon something that stops her cold.
Wait a minute. Oh, Jesus. Wait, did this guy have a kid? What is this?
Yeah, that's good.
Pinned to the fridge is a piece of artwork drawn by a child. She turns to her father and asks whether Tom, the man who had just died in that very trailer, had ever had any children. The response leaves her speechless. Tom did have a son, but the boy had died when he was still young. That revelation has led both Diana and her followers to wonder whether that small, shadowy figure she unknowingly caught on camera the night Tom's body was found might have been his son's ghost. Which raises one haunting question. Could the boy have crossed back from the other side to guide his father into whatever comes next? What was caught in this footage is genuinely unsettling and hard to make sense of. A man recently uploaded an unusual clip to his TikTok that quickly spread across the internet. One night in Indonesia, a large house fire broke out, and since he happened to be at the scene, he pulled out his phone and started filming the blaze. What his camera picked up entirely by accident was something terrifying, something that nobody has been able to account for.
Above the burning house.
Drifting through the air in a way that defies any rational explanation, the man who shared the footage offered no theory of his own, leaving viewers with just a single question written in the caption: "Is there anyone out there who can tell me what this is?" On November 12, 2011, a channel called Schwab304 uploaded a video following a college student named Will, chronicling a series of disturbing and unexplained events taking place in his dorm room at West Virginia University. Will describes how something strange occurs in his room every single night without fail, always at exactly 1 in the morning. He talks about picking up on odd sounds but never being able to identify what's making them or where they originate. He then settles in and stays silent, waiting for something to happen while his friend records the whole thing. Before long, Will gets to his feet and starts moving through the dorm, claiming he just heard something, and that's the moment everything changes.
What is that?
That was a noise.
Look over here. I don't hear it anymore. I think it stopped. Oh my god!
Without any warning, a whole collection of Will's possessions goes flying across the room, as though whatever presence might be sharing that space suddenly snapped and decided to cause some chaos. The footage cuts off shortly after, leaving viewers with no closure whatsoever about what happened to Will or his friend in the aftermath. Sadly, that upload remains the one and only video ever posted to the channel, and given how many years have gone by, a follow-up explanation seems pretty unlikely at this point. Sure, skeptics could point to off-camera trickery, hidden strings, someone lurking nearby, but the timing of it all, combined with Will's raw, unfiltered reaction, makes it genuinely hard to dismiss. For an early 2010s clip, if it was staged, whoever put it together did a seriously convincing job. But I want to hear from you. Do you think Will had a real paranormal encounter on his hands, or is there a logical explanation hiding somewhere in that footage? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because I'm genuinely interested in what you make of this one. Two fishermen operating off the coast of El Dorado, Mexico were out on the water when they came across something that made absolutely no sense: a house drifting freely in the open ocean. Initially, they assumed it was wreckage or maybe a boat that had run aground, but the closer they got, the more unsettling it became. The structure appeared almost completely undamaged, as though it had been ripped straight from its foundation moments before. Not knowing whether someone might be trapped inside, the men started shouting out, their voices swallowed up by the surrounding sea. That's the moment their footage captured something that's hard to explain.
Están buenas las puertas, pero tienen su tranca y están clavadas, verga. Pero que vayan a salir, no me vaya a salir un cristiano ahí. Vaya de frente. ¿Hay alguien con vida? ¿Hay alguien con vida? Respondan. ¡Hey! ¿Quién vive? ¿Quién vive? ¿Quién vive? Hola, mío, la puerta. Que la puerta también es trancada, verga. A ver, nomás prueba. Vaya que cuando me suba me salgan esta gente. ¿Quién? Pues tócale. Es que no estuviera aquí. Ni verga, no. Espérame, estoy grabando por la verga. ¿Hay alguien con vida? Respondan. Míralo. Ahí está.
As one of the men yelled out to check whether anyone remained in the building, a dark silhouetted shape shifted across one of the windows. A pale, ghostly face flashed into view for just a second before vanishing behind the frame. Both men went still, gripped by fear, convinced that whatever lurked inside wasn't anything natural. After getting no response to the repeated calls, they turned the boat around and left, too rattled to venture any nearer. Local news coverage later identified the structure as the former Atracadero restaurant in Tuxtla, Veracruz, ripped from its location and carried out to sea when Hurricane Priscilla triggered severe flooding. But one question still lingers. If that place had been abandoned and gutted days prior, what exactly was moving around inside it? The following clip is about a man named Nick, who manages a yogurt store and, for a long time, dismissed the strange stories his staff kept telling him. Employees had complained about lights flickering, objects shifting when no one was nearby, and an uneasy feeling that only seemed to happen during closing hours. At first, Nick assumed there had to be logical explanations, faulty wiring, building issues, or simple human error. But eventually, he experienced the same thing. Watch.
Okay, I'm literally at work right now. I'm alone. That's my car. There is not one other car in the parking lot. Look, the freaking light's flickering from the reflection in the window. I don't know what's going on. I'm here alone, and this is what I deal with that I usually don't catch on camera. This is the light switch. Ready? This? Oh, I think I stopped it. Did I stop it? No, I didn't. I didn't stop it. I don't know what's going on, and this makes absolutely no sense. And now it stopped. Good. And ready? Here we go. Because that makes sense, right? This is what I deal with, and no one understands. And of course I'm here alone, and this is like a friggin' murder house. This is my security cameras. There's no one here, so I don't understand. Oh my god, Jesus Christ. Hello?
At first glance, many people assumed it was nothing more than electrical problems. After all, flickering lights in older buildings aren't uncommon. But power shortages don't explain everything, because moments later, a chair suddenly falls over on its own in the attic. Nick later revealed something even more unsettling. Before he started recording, he heard what sounded like a girl singing somewhere inside the building, and according to him, this wasn't the first time. Several employees had mentioned hearing the same thing, soft singing late at night, always when the store was nearly empty. There was also another detail that people couldn't ignore. The neighboring store right next to them had recently gone out of business. The space had been empty ever since. Dark, silent, unused, and yet some began to wonder if whatever energy lingered there had simply moved next door. At this point, people were curious, but not fully convinced. Many chose to wait for more evidence, and then it happened again. One evening, as Nick and his staff were preparing to leave, thinking the night had been quiet, the camera captured something else.
Okay guys, we were literally just about to leave my store when shit just started flickering again. This is the second time it's happened. My car's over there, and
I'm shaking right now.
okay, and her keys are in the fucking bag.
We need to go. We need to go get my keys.
And the light turned on.
I don't want to go.
Okay, well, I'm gonna literally record this whole thing just so you guys can see what happened. I'm literally so scared. Okay, okay, something. The bathroom light's on too.
What's this like? Bro, why are my keys on the floor? They were not there. Like, my dad put them on the desk. Like, oh my god.
This is literally insane.
If you look closely, a topping lid suddenly flies off the counter, like something physically knocked it away. And almost immediately after that, the lights they had just turned off began flickering again, as if something inside the darkness was moving through the store. This was the moment people stopped blaming electricity. Because faulty wiring can cause flickering, but it can't remove lids, it can't target objects, and it certainly can't create the feeling that something is active only when the building is empty. That detail became especially disturbing, the fact that all of this only ever happened at night. Some viewers began speculating that it could be what paranormal researchers call a residual spirit, energy left behind by someone who once spent a lot of time in that place. Residual hauntings often repeat certain behaviors, moving through familiar areas, making familiar sounds, sometimes even singing. Others believed it might be something more aware. And then came the moment that disturbed people the most. One night, while Nick was inside recording again, something happened that was impossible to ignore. Watch.
Okay guys, we've been sitting in the back for like 20 minutes now, and we're just watching the cameras and stuff is still flickering and going on, but nothing happened back here, and we need to go home, and this is so freaking terrifying.
We're 50 minutes past our shift because of this shit.
We closed at 10, so we need to like, it's so dark because all the light switches are over here.
Stop it, go, go.
Okay, this is what I mean. This room is over. This is.
Oh my god.
This is what we're dealing with.
Oh my god, yo, what the. Bro, Nick, did you do this on purpose?
I.
Did you fake this? No, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you, Nick.
Stop! You're literally. Are you?
No, wait, no. Nah.
No.
That's it,
We literally looked away for like 2 seconds.
From the darkness, something is suddenly thrown in his direction, like something didn't want him there. Nick and his staff quickly left, shaken and trying to process what just happened. But seconds later, when they looked back, they saw the lights moving inside again. Some believe this could be what's known as a poltergeist, an entity known not just for appearing, but for interacting physically with the environment. Poltergeists are often associated with thrown objects, sudden movement, and escalating aggression. Unlike residual energy, they don't simply replay the past, they react, and sometimes they target. Others believe it could be something attached to the building itself, especially considering the abandoned store next door. Paranormal investigators often warn that empty spaces can sometimes become vessels, places where energy gathers without interruption. And then there's the singing, because one of the most unsettling signs reported in hauntings is disembodied singing. Familiar and human, but with no visible source. Many believe this is a way entities announce their presence, not loudly but subtly, but enough to be noticed and enough to be remembered. Until more updates are given, all anyone can do is speculate. But if you were standing there alone, hearing singing in an empty store, and watching things move on their own, what would you say you're dealing with? In this next video, a woman is in the middle of a live session, calmly recording herself and interacting with her audience when something deeply unsettling appears behind her. Take a look.
Hi guys, today I want to tell you about Did you see it too? Okay, so what was that? I'm scared.
At first, nothing seems out of the ordinary. But then, for a brief moment, the outline of what appears to be a man becomes visible in the mirror. Moments later, she steps out to check the area, but there's no one there. Nothing that explains who or what was reflected. Shortly after she returns, her door slowly opens on its own. Some viewers believe this points to a possible intruder or even a stalker, someone who may have been inside the home without her knowledge, staying quiet and out of sight. And honestly, that explanation carries its own kind of fear. The idea that someone could enter and leave without being noticed is deeply disturbing, but others question the way the door opens. There's no visible force behind it, just a slow, steady movement that doesn't seem tied to anyone physically present. Either way, both explanations leave the same unsettling question. Was someone in her home that night, or was it something else? In this next video, a well-known Turkish paranormal content creator who specializes in found footage style investigations travels deep into the Turkish countryside to a village long rumored to be inhabited by jinn. These abandoned settlements, known locally as Turkadilmiş Koylar, are often avoided entirely, their silence carrying stories no one wants to verify firsthand. His first stop is an abandoned house at the edge of the village. Normally, his investigations begin quietly. Minutes pass with nothing but the sound of wind and his own footsteps. But this place feels different from the start. Only seconds after stepping inside, something suddenly tries to attack him. The object narrowly misses him, and at that moment, he and his friend immediately realize they're dealing with something far more active than expected. They leave the house quickly because whatever threw that object didn't miss by accident. And there's no guarantee the next one would, but their investigation is only beginning. They soon arrive at another location deeper within the village, a place known as Sin Ovasa, the Plain of Jinn. Even the name carries a warning. As he scans the ground with his flashlight, something unusual catches his attention. Lying in the dirt is a small wooden structure, a talisman.
Ağaçtan geldi. Bu ağaçtan geldi. Gördünüz mü arkadaşlar?
It appears to have been thrown from the direction of a nearby tree. In Turkish folk magic, objects like this are often referred to as a muska or talisman. They are believed to serve as anchors, either to bind a curse to a location or to trap a jinn in a specific place. They are usually buried carefully, hidden from sight, because disturbing or removing them is said to release whatever they were meant to contain. As they move closer to investigate, a strange voice suddenly breaks the silence. Neither of them can identify where it's coming from, but it's close enough to send them running. After putting some distance between themselves and the tree, they stop and shine their flashlight back toward the spot where they heard the sound. And that's when they see it. A figure, standing motionless in the darkness, watching them. They didn't stay long enough to find out what it was, but before leaving the village entirely, they decided to investigate one final abandoned house. Except, this house didn't feel abandoned.
Oradan mı geliyor? Orada. İnsan kıran insan. İnsan, evet. İnsan. Hadi insan delidir. İnsan normal bir insan. İnsandır. İnsan gibiydi. Bunu gördüm. Tam kapıdaydı Sinan. Tam kapıdaydı.
As they slowly move through the rooms, their flashlight catches something disturbing. A hand that appears briefly from behind a door. It looks human, solid, and real. But when they entered, no one was there. No open doors, no broken windows, and no possible exit. Whoever or whatever they saw had nowhere to go, and somehow it vanished anyway. To this day, what they encountered inside that house remains a mystery. Now, in this next clip, popular Midwest investigator, Midwest Ghost Hunter, continues his investigation in one of the most feared locations in the state of Indiana, the abandoned Blackford County Jail. Earlier in his investigation, Ian had already been driven out of the basement after rocks were thrown in his direction. Still unsettled, he moves upstairs toward the sheriff's quarters, searching for something specific, a pair of slippers that previous visitors claim appears and disappears without explanation. But as Ian stands near the staircase, scanning the quiet hallway, something suddenly comes flying down from above. Watch closely.
Who's behind the disappearing slipper? Because I'm not gonna lie, that's one of the strangest things I've ever heard. Are you a female spirit? What is your name? Did you once live here? Oh, what the? What the heck was that? Dude, something just hit me on the freaking head. What the heck was that? Whoa! What? Is that a ring? Oh my god. Dude, I just got hit in the head with a freaking ring. Oh shit, I dropped it. Where did it go? Where'd it go? I dropped it somewhere down here. Dude, what the heck? Like, who threw something at me? Something just hit me in the head. It was a ring.
An old, ornate ring comes flying down the stairs and strikes him directly on the back of the head. Ian searches the immediate area, checking the floor, the steps, and the surrounding space, but couldn't find it anywhere. Then, things escalate even further.
Okay, I'm genuinely lost. I don't know where this thing went. Dude, I just heard a woman. Okay, I'm going up. Alright, screw the ring. I'm going up here. Hello? Hello? I just heard somebody. Oh, dude, I almost fell. I just heard somebody up here. Hello? Ma'am? Did you throw a ring at me? It's okay. I'm not mad. I just want to know why. Why'd you throw it? What if it disappeared? No. That's crazy. There's no way. I physically had it in my hand.
A faint woman's voice can be heard somewhere inside the quarters. Ian freezes and tries to listen carefully, but there's no one else inside the building. No footsteps, no movement, just the voice. To this day, it's still unclear what threw the ring or who was speaking. For more haunting videos including Ian, subscribe to the channel now. The following clip was recorded by a ghost hunter who, along with a friend, decided to explore an abandoned house with a long and unsettling history. Locals say the property has been empty for years after multiple owners moved out suddenly, all reporting the same thing. Loud banging at night, objects shifting on their own, and an overwhelming sense of being watched the longer you stayed inside. Despite those warnings, the two decided to investigate after nightfall, hoping to document whatever was still lingering there. Not long into their exploration, something happened that neither of them has been able to explain to this day. Watch closely.
Yap şöyle. Oynuyor muyuz? Allah Allah, bu ne ya? İçeriden ses geliyor, içinden ses geliyor. Onun içinden ses geliyor. Bırak, sen.
A pipe can be seen moving violently on its own, with no visible cause and no one anywhere near it. Many believe this kind of aggressive movement points to a highly charged presence, possibly something reacting to their intrusion. Skeptics argue it could be vibrations or structural instability, but the intensity and timing of the movement make that explanation hard to accept. Until more investigations are done at this location, this remains unsolved. The man in this next video believes something non-human has been living in his house ever since he brought home an old African mask. It started with objects shifting slightly when no one was around, strange knocking sounds at odd hours, and the constant feeling of being watched. But over time, things escalated. He claims items have fallen on their own, shadowy figures have appeared briefly in doorways, and on one terrifying occasion, a knife was flung toward him. What makes it even more disturbing is that the activity doesn't follow a pattern. It happens during the day, in the middle of the night, whenever it wants, almost as if whatever's there doesn't need darkness to move. One night, while sitting in his living room, he suddenly heard a sound coming from the upstairs bathroom, like someone shifting their weight or stepping around inside. Knowing he was alone, he grabbed his phone and slowly headed up. Have a look.
I was just sat on my computer watching the football, and that noise started. Fucking hell. I haven't captured anything for weeks. I've been feeling quite unsettled in this house still, even with the mask on. It's that kind of feeling that someone's watching you. Hello?
If you watch closely, something appears in the bathroom mirror, a dark shape that seems to emerge and then slowly descend out of view. After sharing this footage, he says many people reached out suggesting he try communicating with whatever is causing the disturbances. He since mentioned plans to attempt a Ouija board session to get answers. That idea immediately set off alarm bells for viewers. Many believe Ouija boards don't just invite communication, they invite anything willing to respond. Others warn that attempting contact can strengthen an entity's attachment, especially if it's already showing aggressive behavior. Some even think the mask itself could be a vessel or conduit, and that trying to communicate might make things far worse instead of bringing clarity. So, what do you think? Is using a Ouija board the only way to understand what's happening, or is it the worst possible move when something already feels this hostile? Now this next clip is about Kyle, a guy who's been sharing the unsettling things happening inside his home, things that never seem to stay in one place. First, it started in the crawl space, then it shifted to the attic, later, the garage, and now it's happening in the very room where Kyle sleeps. Kyle says he's heard children laughing in empty hallways, footsteps where no one should be, and objects subtly shifting when his back is turned. What makes it even stranger is that the sounds never repeat in the same spot twice, almost as if whatever this is doesn't want to be tracked. One evening, Kyle was hearing strange voices from his crawl space, so he decided to check, thinking maybe there's something hidden down there, an animal, old wiring, anything that could explain what's been tormenting him. But instead, he captures this. Watch.
If you didn't see that freaky thing in the crawl space, I'm going to slow the video down for you. Now I'm going to play it at normal speed, just looped over and over and over. Whatever that is, it can't be human, because no human can move that fast. I don't know if that's the same thing that I saw in the crawl space the last time that I caught on that security camera when I had that camera down there. I don't know, but it scared the hell out of me. I get a lot of people asking, like, what's the scariest thing that's ever happened in my house? That's got to be up there, but I'm thinking about making a top 5 video and posting that soon. And for the people that have been asking, it's been quiet lately. That's why I haven't been posting. Nothing's been happening. Thankfully, been having a break from all this. So, yep. I hope y'all have a Merry Christmas.
What's unsettling is that Kyle has caught something very similar before, up in his attic. Now he's wondering if this same figure has been moving freely through his home the entire time, slipping between spaces just out of sight. Whatever Kyle caught, it doesn't explain everything. But it does make one thing clear. This activity isn't tied to one location, and Kyle's home may not be as empty as it seems. The following video centers around a man named Steve, who says his experiences with spirits didn't start recently, but all the way back in childhood. Now, 54 years old, Steve believes the activity has intensified, not because something new has attached itself to him, but because it's never actually left. Over the years, he's claimed to hear different voices at different times, some calmly saying their full name, others making random statements that don't seem directed at anyone else in the room. According to Steve, these voices come unexpectedly, sometimes during quiet moments, and other times right in the middle of daily life. Watch and listen closely. At first, many viewers thought the voice was telling the dog to lay down, but when you replay it carefully, others are convinced the words are actually "play dead." What makes this especially unsettling is the dog's immediate reaction. After hearing his story, many believe the spirits may not be following him more now, but that Steve himself may be more open to them. There's a long-standing belief that sensitive individuals become more receptive with age, as their mental and emotional veil thins, making it easier for unexplained phenomena to break through. If that's the case, what Steve is experiencing may not be escalation, but exposure. Whether this is heightened sensitivity, something attached to him, or voices finding an easier way to be heard, one thing is clear. Steve's experiences raise serious questions about how long these presences have truly been around, and what they want now that they're being noticed more than ever. Now, in this next clip, a woman finally captures one of the unsettling things she's been experiencing inside her home. Before this video, she had already shared several disturbing moments, like finding her 6-month-old daughter sitting in front of her bedroom door, giggling, even though there was no possible way the baby could have gotten out on her own. She's also noticed her daughter waving at empty corners saying hi, and becoming visibly afraid of certain spots in the house for no clear reason. One afternoon, while dyeing her hair and casually recording her routine, she unknowingly caught something else on camera. Watch closely. For a lot of parents watching, this hit a nerve, and after reading through the comments, the woman revealed she plans to move out within 2 weeks. Living in a house like this is unsettling enough, but with an infant involved, many agree it's not worth the risk. So what do you think? An overreaction or the right decision? Sometimes you hear people say you should be careful about the toys you buy for your kids, especially secondhand or thrifted ones. And while most people brush that off as superstition, stories like this are exactly why the warnings exist. In this next video, a woman captures something deeply unsettling while her young daughter is quietly playing with one of her dolls. Watch closely. At first glance, it looks harmless, just a child playing. But then the doll's head moves on its own. The mother says the moment she noticed it, her stomach dropped. Some viewers tried to explain it away, suggesting the girl's leg may have nudged the doll. But others strongly disagreed, pointing out that the angle and timing don't line up. Many people began sharing a familiar belief, that the earliest paranormal signs are rarely dramatic. They start small, subtle movements, things you second guess. And when those moments are ignored or dismissed, that's when activity is said to escalate. Negligence, according to them, isn't harmless. It's an invitation. So the real question here isn't whether the doll moved, it's what might have moved with it. The following clip was captured inside the Old Gila County Jail in Globe, Arizona, widely considered one of the most haunted locations in the state. Since its closure in 1981, the jail has become a hotspot for paranormal investigations and has even appeared on shows like Ghost Adventures and Ghost Hunters. One of the jail's most disturbing stories centers around a former inmate whose life ended inside his cell in 1911 while he was awaiting trial for the drowning of 2 young girls. In the days leading up to his death, he claimed the spirits of those girls were visiting him, tormenting him inside his cell. To this day, visitors report sudden drops in temperature, an overwhelming sense of dread, and faint sobbing near his former cell in cell block B. Over the years, guests and investigators have also reported being touched, scratched, or pushed by unseen forces, along with disembodied voices, unexplained footsteps, and loud bangs echoing through the second floor. On this particular night, a group of investigators set up a camera at the foot of one of the staircases. Watch closely.
I hear something in here now.
Whatever it is, you have to have got it on this line.
Yep, oh, I guarantee we do.
Just more on worry about it. You might need to walk through and see what's going on.
This voice is impressive on its own, but what makes it even more compelling is that one of our 2 investigators talking at the top of the stairs, discussing their worry about the rain, caught the same voice from one of their cameras. Take a listen.
Here, Riley?
Yeah. We let this video extend a bit longer to give you a comparison of the 3 voices heard in this clip, our 2 investigators' voices, and the 3rd disembodied voice. To add to the mystery surrounding these stairs, less than 2 hours later, another camera at the top of these stairs automatically shuts itself off. Our team hurried to figure out what happened to the camera, realizing that we need to fix this unknown issue downstairs at base camp. This is what happened. After going through over 3 hours of footage, listening through the heavy rain and natural echoes through the prison, this voice is only heard twice. What are your thoughts?
Some believe it may be connected to the inmate whose restless presence is said to linger near the upper floors, while others think it could be something even older tied to the jail itself. It's moments like this that remind people why the old Gila County Jail continues to be an enigma, one that refuses to give up its secrets. Now this next clip comes from a guy named Chris, who regularly explores abandoned buildings with long, often unsettling histories. In this particular video, he's inside one of those locations alone, documenting the space when something strange is caught on camera. Watch closely.
Did you hear that? That was loud. What the hell? What the fuck? What the fuck was that?
At first, there's a loud bang that echoes through the building, sharp enough to make him freeze. Almost immediately after, you can see something shift in the frame, subtle but unmistakable. Chris later explains that in that exact moment, it felt like someone reached out and grabbed him by the shoulder. When this video surfaced, reactions were split. Viewers unfamiliar with Chris and his work were quick to dismiss it as post-production editing or a staged effect. But longtime followers pointed out that Chris doesn't usually sensationalize his footage, and that abandoned structures like this are often unpredictable, both structurally and otherwise. Whether it was something physical, something paranormal, or just a moment caught at the worst possible time, one thing is clear: whatever happened in that building left Chris visibly shaken. And for many who've explored places like this before, that reaction says more than the footage itself. In the following video, a man says he's been dealing with a persistent and unsettling feeling that someone is inside his house with him, and whenever that feeling hits, it's not subtle. His chest suddenly feels heavy, like the air around him has thickened, making it hard to breathe normally. He describes it as a pressure that comes out of nowhere, usually late at night when the house is quiet. One night, that same feeling returned. Instead of brushing it off, he picked up his phone, hoping to finally catch whoever or whatever was causing it. But what he ended up recording was something he didn't expect at all. Watch closely. After seeing this, he says he's now convinced that something is moving freely inside his home, aware of his presence, but careful about when it reveals itself. Some viewers believe this could explain the physical sensations he's been feeling, suggesting that intense fear or stress can manifest as chest pressure when someone senses danger. paranormal investigators often approach situations like this in different ways. Some believe acknowledging the presence gives it strength, while others suggest setting firm boundaries, cleansing the space, or even temporarily leaving the home to break whatever attachment may exist. And then there are those who say that when your instincts keep warning you, when your body reacts before your mind does, it's not something to ignore. Because sometimes when your gut tells you you're not alone, it might already be too late to pretend otherwise. This next video is about Kyle, who has been living in this house for about a year and a half, and whatever is happening there has never stayed in one place. The activity seems to move freely through the home, starting in the crawl space, then shifting to the attic, later the garage, and now even the rooms where he sleeps. Kyle reports hearing children laughing in empty hallways, objects shifting when no one is near them, and sudden noises that don't repeat in the same location twice. Hoping to find a logical source, Kyle decides to check the attic himself, thinking maybe there's something hidden or overlooked that could explain everything. But what he finds only raises more questions. Watch.
Shit. Oh my God. Shit. Damn it. I'm hearing voices up here again. Yo. There's like a little kid laughing. Surely you heard that. Oh man, it's getting funny at this point. What the heck? I think some of y'all are right. I think ever since I put that ornament that I found up here on the Christmas tree, things have been a little wild. Happy holidays, I guess. Okay, maybe it's time to get out of here. I thought I was going to come up here and look around, see if I could find anything else, but we might have to... Maybe I just need to get a friend to come with me or something. Yeah, we'll see about that.
At first, Kyle believes he's only hearing voices, but if you look closely, a figure appears to be standing completely still directly in front of him. Some viewers also point out faint orbs drifting through the frame, and combined with the voices, many believe the attic was already fully active before Kyle ever stepped inside. Whether this is a single entity moving through the house or something far more complex, one thing is clear: the activity in Kyle's home isn't slowing down. Now in this next video, a man shares footage that many viewers say proves that renovating a house doesn't erase whatever energy is already there. Here's a bit of background. The house was originally built in 1949 and has gone through several renovations over the years. At the time this video was recorded, it was still occupied by an elderly woman, and the man in the clip would regularly come by to carry out remodeling work. But according to him, every time he stepped into the house, something felt off. He described sudden cold spots, the uneasy feeling of being watched, and no matter how long he stayed, he never felt fully alone. One day, while working in the basement, something happened right in front of him. Watch. Viewers were quick to point out that there's no obvious explanation for how it shifts the way it does. Some believe the age of the house plays a role, that decades of lived experiences, emotions, and unresolved events can leave something behind, especially in places like basements where energy is said to linger. Others think the activity could be tied to the former owner herself, or even the tension surrounding the home. Shortly after this was recorded, the elderly woman was moved into a nursing home and the house was put up for sale. According to the man, the family had already begun arguing over money and her will, creating even more unrest around the property. Whether it's residual energy from the past, something attached to the house itself, or just another unexplained moment caught on camera, this home seems to carry more than just its history, and whatever moved that chair may not be finished making its presence known. In this next clip, a family was settling in for the night, watching a horror movie called The Deliverance, a film inspired by the real-life 2011 Demon House case of LaToya Ammons in Gary, Indiana. Everything felt normal at first, just another scary movie night, until the atmosphere inside the house began to change. Right in the middle of the film, the power suddenly went out in the parlor. Almost immediately after, the family felt a heavy shift in the room, the unmistakable sensation that someone had just walked into the living room with them. Panicked, they went to their rooms, hoping whatever it was would stop there. But whatever entered the house that night wasn't finished. Watch.
Oh, hell no! Bro, what the? Oh, hell no, you gotta go.
After this encounter, the family swore off horror movies completely. Many viewers believe films based on real events can stir up fear, emotion, and attention, things that some say act like an invitation. Others argue it's a coincidence, that the tension from the movie simply heightened their senses. But there are also those who warn that once something makes itself known, it doesn't always leave on its own. The real concern now is whether this was a one-time incident, or the beginning of something that plans to come back when the house goes quiet again. What do you think? Now, in this next video, a family's dog has been acting strangely, and what it reacts to has left viewers uneasy. Watch closely. The dog is clearly seeing something no one else can see, but two details immediately stand out. First, the family doesn't seem overly concerned. They brush it off, suggesting the dog is simply acting out or responding to a random noise. And second, when the dog becomes more agitated, they shush it, a moment that made many viewers uncomfortable. A lot of people believe animals sense changes in their environment long before humans do, especially when it comes to unfamiliar presences or sudden shifts in energy. What makes this even stranger is that only one dog reacts. So, what do you think? An overreactive pet? Or the only one in the house paying attention? Now, in this next clip, the popular Midwest ghost hunter Ian continues his solo exploration through the haunted buildings of Bonanzaville. Still inside the mansion, he enters one particular bedroom that many visitors say feels different from the rest. This is the room where people have reported seeing an imprint on the bed, as if someone is lying there even when the room is empty. It's also believed to be the very room where the mansion's owner, David, passed away. Watch closely.
Well, doesn't really look like it. David, did you die in this room? I heard you died of a brain hemorrhage, and I'm very, very sorry to hear that. Are you the one that leaves the imprint on the pillow? Could you do it right now? What the heck is is that? What is that? Mom? Somebody downstairs? What the heck is that? It's like a jingling sound. What the heck is that? It's down there.
After leaving the room, Ian starts hearing unexplained sounds coming from downstairs. As he follows the sound, he captures something even more unsettling.
Wait a minute. Look at that. Dude, those things are freaking moving. Oh, hell no. Hell no. How is that even possible? Look at that. You're freaking moving like crazy. And that's her seance table. That's even more terrifying. Oh, God. How is that even happening? There's no air in here or anything. Oh, God. Look at that. They're still moving. Oh, what? Dude, this camera just died.
The crystals on the lamp begin swaying back and forth aggressively, far more than a draft or vibration could explain. What makes this moment even stranger is what happens next. As Ian approaches the table, both of his cameras suddenly die, despite showing full battery just moments earlier. Almost immediately, Ian begins to feel lightheaded, overwhelmed, and uneasy, sensations many investigators associate with intense paranormal encounters. Realizing something may not want him there anymore, Ian makes the decision to leave the mansion. Was this a warning, or something following him all along? You decide. For more haunting videos including Ian, subscribe to the channel now. The following clip was recorded inside Kyle's house, a place we featured several times on this channel. For the past few weeks, things have been unusually quiet, but as many people familiar with paranormal cases will tell you, long quiet periods don't always mean the activity is gone. Sometimes they mean something is building up. One morning, Kyle woke up to the sound of voices coming from somewhere inside his house. Watch closely. At first, he did what most people would do. He searched the house room by room, trying to find a logical source. No TV was on, no phone, no neighbors, nothing that could explain what he was hearing. But when he reached the basement door, things became even more unsettling. Viewers who analyzed the clip claim they heard a young girl's voice whispering, "He's coming." But Kyle doesn't have any children, and no kids were anywhere near the house at the time. Several people urged Kyle not to respond verbally, especially not in the moment, a common warning when unexplained voices are heard, as acknowledging them is believed by some to strengthen the activity. For now, Kyle hasn't been able to explain what he heard that morning, just a voice that shouldn't have been there, and a house that, after weeks of silence, suddenly felt very. In this next video, a security guard shares more updates from his workplace. a place where strange figures have been showing up far too often to ignore. In earlier clips, he documented unexplained figures passing, and he thought it was going to be a one-off activity, but it happened again. One night during his shift, he noticed a white figure moving through the building once again. Instead of brushing it off, he decided to stand up and follow it, hoping to finally get a clearer look. Watch closely.
The storm is so bad that ghost had to go upstairs. Look at the bottom right. Look. There you go. Look at that. It was cold. I'm like, oh shit. I wanted to follow it and feel. See, I'm trying to feel, like, follow the cold breeze. I saw it going towards the elevator. So I went there. It was actually a cold breeze towards the elevator, then it just stopped. So I'm like, damn. Shit. So I walked back thinking the motherfucker was gone. I guess it didn't want me to follow it. So I'm like, okay. Then something touched me. I'm like, what the something touched me. I'm still trying to see, like, where is it at? Like, it vanished, so how is it still touching me or something? I don't know. It's creepy. So I'm like, okay. Well, at least I saw it and followed it for a little moment. Then it went to vanish. I'm like, oh, yeah. I was like, go ahead and take your ass upstairs and get warm.
Aside from briefly touching him, there haven't been any violent attacks, scratches, or aggressive behavior. This led many to believe this could be a non-hostile or friendly spirit, possibly unaware of its surroundings or simply repeating a routine it once had in life. But it happened again. On another night shift, the guard spotted the same faint white figure again, only this time it came through the door. And as the figure moved closer, he described feeling a sudden cold breeze, even though the building's temperature hadn't changed. Have a look.
I saw that motherfucker again. Just look real close. Just look. It's coming from the door, from outside. See it? It's faint. It's real faint. I'm looking at it, I'm like, hold on, let me feel if it's real. It's cold too when I put my hand up there by it. It's real cold. Then it went back there towards the door, all the way back there in the back. I'm like, whoa. I wanted to see it went close to me or some shit. I'm like, oh, so ghosts, because ghosts do give out like a cold chill, like when you put, like, it's like a cold breeze there. I'm like, okay. Shit, I saw it came from outside too. I'm like, damn. And I wasn't even freaked out. I just wanted to see how it felt. I was like, that motherfucker cold in the mud. So I saw it. That shit is crazy, man. It's been a while since I've seen this, so like I said, it come every now and then, but you have to look real hard though, real hard to see it. It came from here and it went real slow. Just look real hard when you rewind the video.
In paranormal belief, sudden cold spots are often associated with spirits because it's said they draw energy from their surroundings to manifest or move. Many claim that when a temperature drops without explanation, it can signal a spirit passing through or attempting to interact. Despite multiple encounters, the figure has never spoken, it hasn't shown its face, and it hasn't revealed why it keeps appearing in the same workplace night after night. Until more updates are shared, this case remains unsolved. Now, this next video is about David, the man who bought a doll and almost immediately realized he'd made a serious mistake. At first, David believed the activity was tied directly to the doll, so he did what many advised. He locked it inside a cage and placed a Bible on top, hoping that would contain whatever presence was attached to it. But the activity in his house didn't stop. In fact, many viewers believe that while the doll may have acted as a trigger, whatever came with it may have already spread throughout the house long before it was locked away. One night, around 4 a.m., David woke up to get some work done, but as he finished and was about to head to bed, he began hearing something that immediately put him on edge. Listen closely.
Están escuchando, ¿no? Son pasos, esos son pasos. Y los estoy escuchando, ya van 2 veces que los escucho. Entonces la segunda vez dije, ok, termino de hacer la cama y empiezo a grabar. Ok, ya escucharon, ¿no? Bueno. Entonces, ¿por qué tengo la luz así? Porque me duermo con la luz de rojo, y ya está. Y para los que digan, esas cruces que no sé qué, son adornos, nada más. Entonces, ya encendí la luz del celular, ¿ok? Porque ahorita todo está apagado. ¿Qué voy a hacer? Ahí se escucha.
It sounded unmistakably like footsteps, and David was completely alone. In the same video, David addresses something many commenters had been focusing on: the red lighting in his room and the crosses on the wall. He explains that the red light helps him sleep, and the crosses are simply decorative ornaments, not ritualistic, not symbolic. But viewers aren't convinced. Many argued that red lighting is often associated with heightened emotional states or altered perception, while others insisted that symbolic objects, even when decorative, can still act as spiritual triggers, especially in an already active environment. Trying to locate the source of the noise, David followed the sound, and it didn't surprise anyone when the footsteps led him straight to the room where the doll was locked. But what shocked viewers most wasn't the room. It was what appeared just before he reached it: a face, barely visible, peeking out from the darkness, watching him. That single moment escalated everything, because now there were 3 separate concerns: the doll locked in the cage, the red light, and the cross ornaments, and now a visible presence that wasn't hiding anymore. David shared that this wasn't the first time he heard footsteps. One night while he was home alone, he heard footsteps so convincing that he genuinely believed someone had broken into his house. Have a look.
Se escuchó que alguien venía así, hacia mí. Y fue cuando cerré la puerta.
After that incident, viewers advised him to prepare for the next time it happened, specifically by using talcum powder, a method some believe can reveal unseen movement through footprints. So when it happened again, David knew exactly what to do. Watch this carefully.
Talco para pies. No me importa usarlo todo. Bueno, amigas, bueno, amigos, así quedó. Ya está. No fue mucho lo que quedaba. Ya se vació esto. Voy a dejarlo así, qué sé yo, toda la tarde y toda la noche de mañana, a ver qué pasa. Es decir, en 24 horas reviso. Ya está. Antes de voy a encender la luz de esto. Todo eso está el talco, ¿ok? Sí se ve bien creepy, ¿no? Ah, cosa curiosa. El rosario de la Biblia ya no... A ver, así. Ya no encuentro el rosario de la Biblia. Y si se dan cuenta, la muñeca se volvió a mover.
As he pours the powder, something else happens. A voice can be heard. And for those familiar with David's story, this voice is disturbingly familiar. From the very beginning, David has described hearing a voice that sounds distressed, sometimes crying, sometimes calling his name, sometimes sounding like it's asking for forgiveness, as if whatever is there isn't just present, but suffering. Then, David noticed something else. The doll had changed position inside the cage, and the rosary he'd placed on top of the Bible was gone. At this point, even viewers couldn't agree on what was truly responsible. Some still blame the doll, others insist the house itself may already be haunted. A few believe it's the environment, the lighting, the symbols, the attention, feeding whatever is there. And then there's the face, because once something is watching you, it's no longer contained. So what do you think is causing all of this? The doll, the red light, the crosses, or the house itself? You be the judge. In the following video, a woman shares footage after more than 2 weeks of unsettling experiences, incidents that have slowly pushed her toward one frightening conclusion, that something may have attached itself to her. Watch this carefully.
I'm recording this to see if I can catch it on camera this time, but I'm home alone for the night and I swear I've been hearing noises. Usually this happens, but this time I'm so... Please tell me that you can hear it.
To a lot of people, this might not be a classic attachment case. Attachments usually don't begin loudly, they start subtly. A constant feeling of being watched, sudden emotional shifts that don't feel like your own, exhaustion that doesn't improve with rest, recurring intrusive thoughts, vivid dreams involving the same presence, or a heavy sensation in the chest or shoulders, as if something is always nearby. So this might be something else, a mimic. Mimic cases often present differently. Instead of targeting emotions or energy first, mimics focus on imitation. They copy familiar voices, repeat phrases the person has heard before, and create situations designed to provoke a response. And that's where the most important rule comes in. The number one rule when dealing with a mimic is this: do not respond and do not acknowledge it in any way. No speaking back, no calling out, no asking questions, no reacting emotionally. Sometimes, while attachments tend to drain and linger quietly, mimics provoke, and once they're acknowledged, they rarely stop. Until more updates are shared, the situation remains deeply unsettling. Now, in this next video, a man is simply giving his friends and family a tour of his new apartment. Nothing unusual, just a quick walkthrough to show the space. But he captured something terrifying. Take a look. It wasn't until one of his friends decided to slow the video down and examine each room more carefully that something disturbing stood out. As he walks past one of the rooms, there appears to be a woman standing still, facing the window. She doesn't move, and she didn't turn. The man insists he was completely alone while filming. No roommate, no visitor. Viewers quickly began analyzing the footage frame by frame. Some believe it could be a reflection or a trick of lighting, but others pointed out that the figure appears to have depth and form, standing in a spot where no mirror or reflective surface should be. The posture is also unsettlingly natural, like someone quietly observing the outside world. So, what do you do when your new apartment already has someone living rent-free in it? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this one. This next video was captured by Nate, a man whose dog has been trying to warn him that something isn't right inside the house. One night, while Nate was home alone watching TV, this happened. Watch closely.
So I'm here watching football, and this light keeps going on and off. I was just up there going to the bathroom. Like, I checked the bulb, and the switch is right there. It just started doing this.
If it's just the lights turning on and off, some might say he's overreacting. Electrical issues happen, but when you factor in everything else that's already happened in this house, the situation becomes much harder to dismiss. We've heard whispers underneath several of Nate's past videos, faint, low, and not coming from the TV. There's also the clip where a knife was thrown across the room, even though no one was standing near it. And then there's his dog, who refuses to go into certain corners of the house, freezing in place, growling, or leaving the room altogether. And when multiple signs start stacking up, sound, movement, objects being thrown, and an animal clearly reacting, it begins to feel like something is escalating. For now, Nate hasn't been able to explain what's going on inside his home. So until more answers or updates surface, this one remains completely unsolved. Now in this next clip, popular Midwest ghost hunter Ian returns to what many locals consider the most haunted house in Minnesota, the infamous Boyd House. The home belonged to the Ehart family, Fred and Minnie, and was originally built back in 1901. As Ian entered one of the rooms, something immediately caught his attention. A light suddenly turned on by itself. At that moment, Ian knew he needed answers. Was this Fred, Minnie, or something else entirely? So he began asking questions.
Minnie, was that you that I heard earlier? Making all those noises? Turning on that closet light? Was that you? I feel him moving again. Thank you. I think they uncrossed. I hope you don't mind me visiting. It is a lovely place. You know, I keep coming back for a reason, right? What the heck was that? That sounded like a female voice, almost. It was like really faint. Minnie, is that you? There it is again. Okay. That is really, really spooky sounding. It sounds like a woman, like humming. Like,
Was that Minnie, the former owner many believe still wanders the house, known for moving objects and interacting with the environment? Or has something else found its way into the Boyd house, drawn in by years of attention and investigations? This footage dates back to August 2025 and was captured by a security camera inside a family home. A woman who's been fighting a slow, exhausting mystery within her own walls. One that didn't begin with terror, but with small things that felt off. At first, it was easy to ignore. Toys would turn up in strange places, nowhere near where her child left them. Doors she distinctly remembers locking the night before would be standing open by morning, but what unsettled her most was something harder to explain. Every now and then, the house would suddenly fill with a smell, sharp, sterile, like medicine, or cold metal, with no source she could identify. For nearly 3 years, she tried to approach it rationally, but nothing stopped the feeling that something wasn't right. Eventually, she installed security cameras throughout the house and began checking the footage whenever she could. On August 23rd, 2025, the cameras finally captured something she wasn't prepared for. The first clip was recorded while her young son was asleep and she was taking a bath. The second clip is even stranger. It was early in the morning, and if you pay close attention, you'll notice that she enters the frame from the opposite direction the figure had just been moving, meaning whatever appears on camera wasn't following her. It was already there. She's hoping someone could help debunk it or point her toward a real explanation. So, what do you think? The following video was captured by CCTV inside a hospital, a place that never truly sleeps. Even late at night, the halls are filled with quiet movement. Nurses checking vitals, machines humming softly, families drifting in and out of wards. But on this particular night, something else may have been moving too. You can see what appears to be the figure of a small child, standing completely still. It doesn't move toward anyone, it doesn't react, it simply stands there, as if waiting. Moments later, the parents of one of the patients walk directly through the figure, and they clearly have no idea anything unusual just happened. Hospitals are often described as some of the most active locations when it comes to unexplained encounters. They're places where fear, grief, hope, and loss all exist at the same time, and many believe that kind of emotional weight leaves something behind. So, was this just a trick of shadows and lighting, or did the camera capture something most people walk past every day, without ever knowing it's there? This footage dates back to 2018 and was captured by a security camera inside a manned store. The store itself is an open-air garage with nearly 20-foot high ceilings, wide open space, and clear sight lines, the kind of place where movement is hard to miss. That afternoon, the owner was alone in his store when this happened. Out of nowhere, his sunglasses drop to the floor. At first glance, it might seem harmless. Maybe they fell off a shelf or were knocked over. But when he reviewed the CCTV footage, he realized something terrifying. No one walked in, nothing passed by, There was no gust of wind, no vibration, and no visible cause. The sunglasses didn't slide or tip over. It flew, as if it had been thrown. Many suggest the possibility of an unseen presence interacting with the environment, something strong enough to move a physical object, yet invisible to the camera. And in a wide open space like this, with nowhere to hide, that possibility becomes even harder to ignore. What do you think happened here? A freak accident, or something watching him work, waiting for the moment to make itself known? You be the judge. In this next video, a man who owns a Mexican seafood restaurant began noticing strange, almost unexplainable movements inside his business. At first, it was easy to brush them off. Small things that could be blamed on long hours, exhaustion, or simple coincidence. Glasses weren't where they were left. Items behind the bar seemed slightly out of place. And sometimes, there was the unsettling feeling that something had moved when no one was nearby. At first, he didn't think much of it, but that changed once the security cameras started catching things he just couldn't understand. In the first video, the man is about to serve a drink, and if you look closely at the tray, one of the shot glasses suddenly moves on its own. He notices it, pauses for a moment, then brushes it off, assuming he imagined it. But the activity didn't stop there. Another clip shows one of the bartenders holding a bottle when, without warning, the neck of the bottle snaps clean off in his hand. Then comes another piece of footage. A bottle shifting on its own, sliding without anyone touching it. At this point, some might argue it only happens during busy working hours. Vibrations, movement, people nearby. But the most unsettling moment comes later, when the restaurant is completely closed. The security camera records creepy audio, faint whispers, low voices, sounds that shouldn't be there when the place is empty. Now the staff can't help but wonder whether these are just a series of bizarre coincidences, or signs that something else may be sharing their restaurant with them. Is it too early to call it haunted, or is this exactly the moment they should start paying closer attention and looking for answers? A woman named Mel and her family had just left their house for a quiet weekend getaway when her phone suddenly buzzed with a Ring camera notification, one that shocked the living daylight out of her. Watch this. On the footage, something or someone opens the front door, allowing her dogs to walk outside freely. What makes this unsettling is that when Mel checked the indoor cameras, there was no one visible inside the house. The door simply opens. Imagine being miles away from a home you're certain you locked, only to watch it open on its own. At that moment, Mel's biggest concern wasn't even the door, it was her dogs. She immediately called her neighbors and asked them to help. Thankfully, they were able to get the dogs safely back inside. Needless to say, that weekend getaway ended right there. This terrifying footage was captured by a nearby house security camera. A guy had just arrived at his mom's place and stepped out of his car to offload a few things, but the camera caught something he didn't notice at the time. You'll see what looks like a human figure walking slowly out of the woods. At first glance, it's easy to miss, but as the figure approaches the car, it suddenly bows down, and then drops straight out of sight, disappearing completely. That's where the speculation begins. People say this could be a phantom person, a phenomenon many believe isn't a myth at all, but something that's been reported for centuries. Stories describe these figures as appearing briefly, often near roads, trees, or homes, only to vanish in ways that don't match human movement. Some say phantom people aren't spirits in the traditional sense, but residual figures, moments caught between time, replaying fragments of something that once happened there. So what do you think? A coincidence caught at the wrong moment, or something ancient and very real stepping briefly into view? This footage dates back to 2017, when a woman was simply trying to get some work done, but whatever was in the room with her clearly wasn't ready to let her focus. At first, the security camera captures something subtle. The chair shifts slightly. It's easy to dismiss. Chairs move sometimes, but then it slides farther than it should, before slowly drifting back into place, almost carefully. And when that didn't get her attention, whatever was there escalated. An object close to her, a bottle on the table, suddenly tips over and falls. That finally makes her react. She looks up, clearly confused, trying to make sense of what just happened. But it doesn't stop there. Moments later, her own chair is pulled backward, forcefully enough to break the illusion of coincidence entirely. This wasn't something falling, this wasn't gravity, this was interaction. And here's the detail that unsettles many viewers the most. If you increase the brightness of the footage, you can see what appears to be a faint silhouette moving backward in sync with the chair, as if something unseen is physically pulling it away from her. So here's the question that stays with viewers long after the clip ends. Was this something trying to frighten her, or something that had been there all along, finally making sure she noticed? You decide. The following footage was captured by a CCTV camera inside a local store late at night, long after the doors had been locked and everyone had gone home. Almost immediately, the internet split into debate. Some say it's nothing more than a draft, a random gust of air moving the toy across the floor. But skeptics were quick to point out how unlikely that explanation is. The toy doesn't slide or tip over. It rolls smoothly, almost as if it's being guided. Others suggested the toy had been left switched on, and that a faulty motor caused it to move on its own. On paper, that sounds reasonable. But here's where the explanation starts to fall apart. According to the store owner, the toy hadn't been touched for hours, and the store was completely empty at the time. What unsettled many viewers even more was the way the wheels moved. Several people slowed the footage down frame by frame, pointing out that the motion didn't look random or jerky. It looked controlled, like someone was pushing it just enough to make it roll. Locals familiar with the store claim strange things have been happening there for years, items falling from shelves when no one is nearby, and faint footsteps heard after closing hours. So, what do you think? Was this nothing more than physics and a malfunctioning toy? Or did the security camera accidentally capture something unseen, quietly passing the time, playing with a toy when it thought no one was watching? This footage was captured by a security camera installed in a basement. One evening, the homeowner went downstairs to grab a few things when he got distracted by a message on his phone. He sat down, unaware that the camera behind him was recording something he wouldn't notice until much later. Out of nowhere, the calendar is ripped off the wall. 2 pages tear clean through as it comes down, and when he checked the wall afterward, the nail was still firmly in place. Even stranger, when he picked the calendar back up and tried to hang it again, the hole lined up perfectly with the nail, meaning the paper didn't stretch, tear open, or rip downward the way it normally would if gravity alone caused it to fall. Some viewers pointed out the dog's reaction, or lack of one. Instead of barking or panicking, the dog simply moves away, as if giving space to something it sensed but didn't want to confront. What do you think?